Hey guys, welcome back to Mike's Garage. Today, what we're going to do is talk about checking fluids on cars and things like that. New cars versus old cars. I know it's kind of remedial probably for some people who can, overhaul an engine, but some people don't know how to check basic fluids. So that's what we're going to do today. These are the two cars we're going to take a look at today. I've got a 2004 Mercury Sable wagon, which you guys are probably familiar with already from my other videos, and we've got a 2012 Chevy Malibu. Quite different cars, so let us get started. We'll start with the 2004 Mercury Sable. Now for just a brief overview of the fluids that we're going to be checking. We've got this one right here. This would be the oil. This is the oil fill. We have antifreeze, coolant. We've got washer fluid. We have power steering fluid over here. It's always a good idea to check your belt right here. We can do that now. I know this is fairly new. I don't see any cracks or anything on it, so it looks pretty good. Now we'll move over to this side. This is your air filter that was just replaced, so we don't need to check it. We have your brake fluid, which is this little cap right here. And very far down there, that is your transmission fluid dipstick. A little bit more on some of that on the next car, but let's take a look at the fluids. So now when we are checking our oil, pull it out with the engine off. Let's take a look at it, wipe it off once, put it back in, wait a couple of seconds for it to register, and then check again. Now, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but in these two cross hatch areas, it should be in there. Usually you're at the high one is where you want it. So it does need a little bit of oil, so we can add that. Alright, so now we'll open the oil fill, put a little bit in. This car takes 5W20 oil. Make sure you use the proper oil for your vehicle. Especially on modern engines, that is a very big issue, because if it takes 0W10 or 0W20 or whatever it is, and you put the wrong weight in, it's not going to run right, and you can do some major damage to your engine. So now we'll pull it out again, take a look, and it's actually right at the full mark now. Over here. Next, we will check our coolant. Looks pretty good in there. It's at the full mark here. It has a full cold and a full hot mark. Always make sure it's at the corresponding mark when you're checking it. Never check it when it's too hot. Just warm, because it will spray all over the place. It's burning hot. You will burn yourself and make a big mess. It's also very corrosive to grass, trees, anything like that it gets on. And also your paint. I'll wash your fluid here. Check to make sure it's full. I know this one is a bit low, so let's add a bit of washer fluid. I kind of vary the stuff that I use. I'll use the winter de-icer in the winter, even though my car is kept in the garage. Oh, okay. This is the summer blue stuff. It has a lower freezing point, or I should say higher freezing point. So that is full. We'll check the power steering. Does look pretty good. Now this also does have a full hot and full cold area. It'll say min or max. Just make sure it's within it. This car is really cool right now, so it's at the lower portion, but that is good. we did check the belt. Let's see. I usually just check over to make sure any hoses or wires aren't broken or anything. So now, move over here to the brake fluid. It does look full. This also has a min and a max little spot on the reservoir. It is at the full mark, so that's good. Transmission fluid. Just check it to make sure it's pink, not red, or have a burnt smell to it, and it doesn't. I know this one is okay, but you should check it running. But I have checked it recently, so I know it's okay. For the purposes of filming, we'll do it with the engine off this time, just because you wouldn't be able to hear me. Make sure you put it back in the hole, and that is it for an older style engine. Now we'll move on to a newer style engine. This is a 2012 Chevy Malibu with a 2.4 liter Ecotec 4-cylinder engine. Just like before. Okay, now right here we do have the oil level dipstick. Right below it there is actually the oil filter. It has a cartridge style filter, which takes a special socket to remove. Over here we have washer fluid. Now in your car these may be in a different spot. This is your air filter. We're not going to be checking that right now. Right here at the top, oil fill. Over here we do have the coolant reservoir and the master cylinder reservoir. One thing we do not have, or I should say two, on this vehicle, I'm going to show you right now. This is actually the fill for the automatic transmission. Now this particular car does not have a transmission fluid dipstick. They do say that this is a lifetime fluid for this vehicle as far as the transmission goes. Now what they say for this car is it has lifetime fluid in the transmission. What that means is the lifetime of the transmission fluid is until your transmission fails, whether that's 80,000 miles, 200,000 miles. Doubtful you're going to get 200 out of it without changing the fluid, but they say you don't need to. Do not listen to that. Do not listen. They want to sell you a new transmission. What you really need to do is about 60,000 miles, drain it and fill it at the fill hole, which I just showed you right here. I'll show it again. Right down there. That's the fill hole. Basically, you're going to drain it out and then fill it in with about what you took out of it. This car also does not have a power steering reservoir to check because it has electronic power steering. We're going to check the washer fluid, and it could probably use a little bit, so let's put some in. Okay, now let's fill up that reservoir. I know that's good because you can kind of hear when the air gets to the top. All right, close that back up. Move over here to the coolant. Just gonna check. Actually, let's take a look in there. Looks pretty good. It is at the cold fill mark, and we're not going to add anything because this car hasn't been driven in a while. Brake fluid. Check it. Pretty good, and it is at the full mark, so we'll be good there. Now we'll check the oil. Okay, now we'll check the oil here, and it's almost completely full. A little bit, add a little bit to it. This car takes 5W30, and always buy a quality oil like a synthetic like this Castrol here. Add a little bit to it. Now these 4-cylinder Ecotech engines do tend to burn a little bit of oil, so keep an eye on it. I would check your oil about every 1,000 miles. Let's take a look, and yeah, it's just right now. There we go. Now while we're on the subject of oil, this particular car, it's a 2012 Chevy Malibu. It does have the GM oil monitoring system, which tells you when you need to change the oil. Now GM says, oh well, when it gets to about 30%, then come in and change it. When I got this car, it actually had the, it was a certified used car. So it had the maintenance included for 2 years. So I did. I took it in, had it changed, whatever, whenever it got to that level. First time I did it myself was about 28, 29%, something like that. I changed the oil. I just wanted to see what happened. It was 2 quarts low. So I know it does burn oil, so pay attention to that. And also it came out, the oil was just black. It was terrible. It needed to be changed much earlier. That was probably about 7,500 miles or so of driving. So don't pay attention to the GM lamp monitors. They want you to ruin your engine, and they want to sell you a new one or a new car. Same thing with the transmission. 60,000 miles, drain it and fill it. The transmission does not have a removable filter. It's all built in. So at least drain and fill. That way you're getting more life out of it. So that's what you really need to check on a regular basis. I'd say every time, every 1,000 miles, just take a look, make sure everything's full, the way it needs to be. That way you don't risk ruining your car prematurely or having it wear out. So, thanks again for watching. So like, subscribe, whatever you like, and see you next time. Thanks.